When I was around 10, maybe 11 years old, I decided that I would run away from home. Now, before you think that there's some America's Got Talent forced sob story here, let me stop you, there isn't. I had a very nice childhood. I had all the love and attention I could ask for. I had friends, I wasn't bullied, I had good grades, I had toys, we weren't poor. It was a very nice childhood and I have very fond memories of it, but still, I remember one day coming home from school and I decided with great determination that I would run away from home. And I wanted to run away because I didn't want to grow up to become like all the adults around me, because I thought that they were living these boring, predetermined lives. You go to elementary school for what, 8, 9 years, and that's like everyday routine, fact memorization and repetition. After elementary school, it's high school, which is more of the same. And then after that, college, university, again, more of the same. And then you go to work, which is like the culmination of routine and repetition. And then after 30 to 40 years of this routine, you get retired. And if you're lucky enough to be healthy enough to tend to some vegetables for a few years, that's great, because after that, you're gonna get some sort of debilitating, humiliating adult diaper sickness, and then you're gonna die. And I really wanted to escape this. I thought that I was walking down this path that everybody was walking to, which led you ultimately the same predetermined course of life, which ended, and you know, everybody was living the same boring life. That's basically it. And I wanted to escape that. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be Ash Ketchum. I wanted to travel around the world and be free and have adventures and have this unpredictable life. I wanted to be the kids from Digimon. They were trapped in this amazing, fantastic world. They didn't go to school. Goku didn't go to school. Oh, none of the main characters I grew up with, nobody went to school. They all had these amazing, unpredictable, free, adventurous lives. And I wanted this too. And I thought that if I ran away from home, I could start on this path to have such a life and escape the prison that I was eventually going to end up with in an office or whatever. But high school, elementary school kept moving on, and I never ran away. And then came high school. I started high school, and in high school I said, high school, that's it. I'm definitely gonna run away from home in high school. But high school came and went, and I didn't run away. And then came university, and by the time I was in university, I kind of knew I wasn't going to run away ever. I probably didn't run away because I realized that my world wasn't like the world of Ash Ketchum and Goku. In my world, I would be broke, alone, cold, dirty, sleeping on a park bench. My world had sex offenders in it. Ash Ketchum's didn't. But that was, I think, just half of the story. The other half why I didn't run away is because I couldn't bear to disappoint my family, because I was a good kid, I was a nice kid, and everybody was expecting me to do non-disappointing things. So I never ran away.
Goodbye, old friend. Don't forget me.
After university, I started work. I was lucky enough to get a job, so I had to be grateful. But I couldn't lie to myself. I hated absolutely every minute of it. This world of nonsensical, arbitrary rules and illogical hierarchies, and I don't know. It was. I remember that one day coming home from work, I came face to face with one of the most painful realizations of my life, and that was that I'm gonna get wet. No, that was that 10-year-old me. He was right. He had next to zero life experience, but he predicted all of this. He predicted just how stupid work would be, and it was just as horrible and painful and stupid as he imagined. I'm gonna move away from the sea. I know it's cool footage, but sorry. I need dry feet. I have to go back home. Now, so coming face to face with this realization was a hard episode for a few days, but after mulling over it and thinking about it, I got over it, and my answer to it was a compromise. If I was a good boy and if I played by the rules, then I deserved some sort of reward, because I played by the rules even though I didn't want to. I did this because of others. So I felt that I deserved something for myself. So I went out and bought a crappy semi-functional old car. A Toyota MR2 Mark I. I always liked cars and machines and knew a bit about them, and I decided that I would buy one that reminds me of the cars that I admired during childhood. Pop-up headlights, 2 seats, spaceship-inspired looks from an overly optimistic vision of the future. My goal was to fix and rebuild this car and turn it into a vessel of occasional escapes into freedom and adventure for myself. After a horrible day at work, I could go on a long drive and forget all the mind-numbing torture I experienced that day. I would still be a good boy, I wouldn't disappoint anyone, but I would also have a tiny little bit of freedom and adventure for myself. After 10 years of work, I had fixed the car 3 times over. It changed my life. An incredible trip down an amazing rabbit hole that initially made me hate my work even more, but ultimately liberated me from that very work. And even if I lived a million more lives, every time I would go and buy that car and rebuild it. Although it changed my life and did everything I didn't expect it to do, my Toyota MR2 never did the one thing that I did expect it to do. And that is to become a vessel of occasional freedom for me. 95% of our time was spent with me working on the car. 5%, probably less, was spent with me driving it. So it may be one of the greatest life teachers I ever met, but a vessel of freedom, it ain't. And that's because, after all, it's a project car built by me. So when I'm driving it, I'm listening for sounds of impending doom coming somewhere from the car, not enjoying myself without a care in the world. When I'm driving it, I'm trying to come up with a real good story for the cops. When I'm driving it, I'm trying not to die, basically, because right now this is a turbocharged, a fast, mid-engined, rear-wheel drive car with a 0 stars crash test rating. So one day after the car was finished, the adventure seeker in me said, "Hey man, let's try bikes, maybe that's what we're looking for." And I said, "No, I don't want to try bikes, I don't want to die." And then he said, "But one day you're going to be old and you do not want to end up thinking, man, I should have tried bikes when I could, like you're thinking now, I should have ran away when I could. It's going to be too late then." So I tried bikes. First, I bought 2 project bikes, one after the other, but then I finally figured it out. You buy a project car or bike if you want to learn mechanics. You buy a brand new or very low mileage one-owner car or bike if you want seat time. Initially, a brand new or low mileage machine may seem more expensive than a project car or bike, but in the long term, it is almost always cheaper. And when you manage to steal time away from work / family / chores / everything else and ride it, this will give you Ash Ketchum level of freedom. Because an all-terrain machine like this one is go anywhere, anytime. And you don't have to listen for weird sounds or worry about cops. And it's not just cops, you don't have to worry about anyone else, because off-road, there isn't anyone else. It's just you and the endless beauty of nature. What I love to do is to turn on Google Maps, go into satellite mode, and just find a random spot in the middle of nowhere that looks interesting. What is this? Let's go check it out. You know how you would explore the neighborhood as a kid? Well, it's basically the same thing. You just go further and you don't have to be back by dinner. I know what you may be thinking. I don't want this, I don't want something new. I like to fix things, I like to tinker around. Well, don't worry. It may not be old and broken, but it's still tinkering heaven. First of all, you don't have to get under motorcycles and then have rust flakes impale your eyeballs like with a project car. You also don't need a specialized expensive lift or weird DIY car lifting solutions. All you need is a little thing like this that costs less than $100. Also, you don't need additional joints in your body to reach bolts placed by sadistic engineers. Everything is right there, easily accessible and easily serviceable. By the way, a regular service is less than $100 and fuel top-ups can be paid with coins. You want to mess about with torque and top speed? Well, here's a $10 sprocket that increases your torque by 16% and you can install it in 25 minutes. I know what's stopping you, the safety. Bikes are unsafe, right? Well, yes, something like this, or this, or this, or this will kill you. Actually, no, you will kill you because you probably won't be able to resist the urge of twisting the throttle beyond your skill level. However, something like this, or this, or this, or this, or similar are mostly tame, user-friendly machines. And if you spend most of your time off-road, then you don't have to worry about people who think that the steering wheel is a cradle for their phone, because off-road, you are the only variable. So if you don't do something really stupid, then your chances of dying are surprisingly low. Yes, you will fall many times, but it's mostly just bumps and bruises, maybe a broken bone or two. And there's a bonus, it's not just an endless list of crazy expensive car parts anymore. Now you're involved too. Some of the stuff you buy actually goes on your body. Gear is a part of the game now, and while most of it is not cheap, most of it does look kinda cool. And another bonus, fitness. You're no longer just sitting in a chair, now you're moving around a lot. And it greatly impacts what happens because you're now half of the total mass, and you will learn very quickly just how weak your knees and your back are from all of that chair sitting. So why am I telling you all of this? You're probably asking yourself, what is the point of this video? Because it's obviously not educational or informative. Well, here's the point. I am sure, I now know it, that I needed something like this really badly. And I am sure, and I know it, that many other people need it. So if my story is at all relatable, and if you have this sort of adventure and freedom itch that you never managed to scratch, then this is a very good back scratcher. And it can do something else that's very important nowadays. It can shut off your brain. It can get you in the state of no mind. I believe mushin, the mind of no mind, is what the Japanese or the Chinese call it. And this is priceless in this day and age when we have the entire world all the time in our pocket, and I don't think we're evolved enough to deal with this correctly. I think we're all overwhelmed a bit. So getting this state of when you're thinking about nothing else is priceless. And whenever I ride, I can think about nothing else other than riding, and this is especially true when you ride off-road. Now, I could achieve this no-mind state with the MR2 as well, but the ratio of working on the car to no-mind state was horrible. For every million hours of working on the car, I would get 1 minute, and even then, all the stars and all the bolts, they had to align, and I had to be lucky, and I had to push the car really hard on the road to achieve this state, and I really don't think that's smart to do on a public road where there's other people involved. But this, whenever I ride it, every time, the mind of no mind. So that's really all I wanted to say. If you're thinking about it, then try it. It works. It's everything you imagine it is. Thanks for watching.